Hi guys, it's me, ChazzaHD, and welcome to this race reaction stream for the Miami Grand Prix. Of course, the race finished about an hour ago. Sorry that I didn't go live as soon as I said, but I didn't get the stream set up as quickly as I could, and I couldn't really gone any quicker. And also, I did need a breather because quite hot, sweaty from all I've done today, and obviously I'm knackered from the weekend. And the race didn't really turn out to be that great, did it? It got exciting towards the end, but yeah, wasn't a great Grand Prix. But it's another Grand Prix in the books, and we'll go through the race and what happened in it in this stream. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Hopefully you've cooled down after the conclusion of the race, and hopefully with me tonight, you will react with me to the events of the Grand Prix here in hopefully you guys, no matter what part of the world you're from, no matter what time it is, hopefully you're having as best a day as you could possibly be having. And certainly, if you're in North or South America or Asia, Australia, this will be a good time for you to watch this stream. Obviously, with the time it is in my part of the world, almost 11:15 at night. So, yeah, good to have you all with me. But let's get into the race, and we'll start with the race result. Max Verstappen is the first man this season to win 2 Grand Prix in a row and has won every race so far this season that he has finished. And yes, won today by 3.7 seconds. Carlos Sainz finished in third. That's Sainz's first podium since the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Sergio Perez finished in fourth. Russell finishes 5th, with Hamilton 6th. Russell, by the way, finishing ahead of Hamilton for the 4th consecutive race. I think that's the first time since 2016 Hamilton has been beaten 4 times in a row by a teammate. And then Bottas 7th, Esteban Ocon 8th, Alonso 9th. That's a good result for the Alpine team to match Alfa Romeo as well, who are their closest rivals in the championship. And then Alex Albon 10th, yet again a points finish for the, you have to say one of the best drivers this season, given what he's doing in that car, and was only 2 tenths away from 9th place. Such a shame, but still great result for him. Ricciardo 11th, Stroll 12th, Tsunoda 13th, Latifi 14th, and then Schumacher, Magnussen, Vettel. Of course, Schumacher and Magnussen had contact with one another. That's why they ended up low down. And Vettel was technically a retirement, even though, he still was able to finish within the classification. And then officially out of the race, Gasly, Norris, and Zhou Guan Yu. So now let's get into the Grand Prix, and we'll start with the Scarlet Ferrari team. 1-2 at the start. It was looking very good. We knew it was going to be a difficult race and that they would have to be at their finest if they were going to win today. But sadly, they weren't quite at their best. I think the 2 drivers did well enough. I just don't think the car was quick enough to beat Max Verstappen today. Obviously, Verstappen beating Sainz to 2nd place at turn 1 and turn 2. And then at the start, it was looking good for Leclerc as he broke the 1-second DRS window to Max. And then Leclerc started to suffer some tyre problems. Something we saw in the sprint race where the Ferrari in the first few laps or so, it looks good. And then towards the end of that stint, it just drops off compared to the Red Bull. I don't know if that is because Leclerc's pushing too hard or that the Ferrari just goes through like some sort of tyre graining phase towards the middle or end of a stint. I don't know if that's the case because, again, we saw it in the sprint race at Imola, a similar situation. And Verstappen, of course, overtook him and ran off into the distance. Even with a safety car, Ferrari could not respond to the pace of the Red Bull and Max Verstappen. Leclerc did, as a driver, I think the best he could, but the car with the tyres just simply wasn't a good enough combination to win. Carlos Sainz, 3rd place, it's a good result considering what he's had in the last 2 or 3 races, the last 2 races, but his lack of pace is alarming. he was, I mean, Nib was saying it with me in the race watch along. He wasn't just slower, he was like a second a lap off the pace. And I know people will say, well, Perez was too. Perez had a problem, which I'm going to get into in a moment. Perez had a car problem that led to him losing like half a second per lap compared to the three ahead of him. Carlos just doesn't have any pace in this car. I don't know if it's because the car is just designed in a way that suits Leclerc a lot more than Carlos, or it's confidence. I don't know what it is, but Carlos Sainz does not have any pace in that car to compete with Max or Charles. It's so disappointing because I thought this season he would be... I mean, I thought it would be Max and Leclerc, the two main guys, but I thought Sainz would be at times, you know, getting in there and maybe nicking a second place and splitting them, or maybe at times nicking a race win here and there. But given the pace he's showing, he's not going to win a race this season at this rate with the pace he's showing. If he improves, he can absolutely do so. Obviously, his next Grand Prix is his home race, so we'll see what he can do there, whether he really steps it up. But his pace is just simply not good enough, and he has got to improve if he is going to be a success of Ferrari, because his pace, I mean, we saw last year, he can be a lot better than he is right now. He definitely is not performing at his finest. But yeah, for Ferrari overall, 33 points. Red Bull score how many points? 38. So the gap is down in the constructors to about 6 points. Ferrari still lead that. Leclerc still leads the Drivers' Championship. But a point that Nib made to me after the stream finished was, we haven't really seen Ferrari bring upgrades to this car. I mean, they brought a new rear wing for this weekend, but they didn't actually end up using it. So, yeah, Ferrari haven't quite developed this car as of yet. So maybe at the next race in Spain, where I think they're bringing their first proper update package of the season, and they're bringing the new power unit, that some have said it could be as good as the Red Bull, as the Red Bull powertrain power unit. We'll have to see. But yeah, I just feel as though with Ferrari that they've got a good car, they've got the potential, but given how things are looking at the moment in terms of the pace of the Red Bull and the Ferrari and Max versus Leclerc, I just feel as though if it continues this way, that Ferrari are going to lose their grip on the lead of the constructors and drivers. That upgrade in Barcelona has got to put them back into a position that they found themselves in Melbourne, because if they don't get back into that position, then I think Max will absolutely close the gap down to Leclerc race by race, and eventually will just take the lead of the championship. So the next upgrade, and the first real upgrade, has got to work. Now we'll move on to Red Bull. And yeah, Max Verstappen, brilliant performance. It was a performance of a world champion, performance of a great driver, which he is. And he definitely, again, proved that he is, I think you'd have to say at the moment, the best performing driver in Formula One. Brilliant performance by him, overtaking Sainz around the outside at the start. Great move by him. Just so typical of the man to pull off a great overtake at an important time. And then, after Leclerc started to suffer some tyre trouble, closed down Leclerc, got past him, as you can see on your screen. And after that, Leclerc didn't stand a chance, and Max just relentlessly pulled away after that. Now, after the safety car came in, Leclerc did apply some pressure, but Max did not wilt, and just kept his head and kept doing what he was doing, and it worked out in the end. The Ferrari just didn't have a straight line speed with the DRS to really trouble Max into the braking zone. So that's why Max was able to keep the lead, and Max won the race very deservedly, and is the driver of the day. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. Sergio Perez, though, I am very... I feel sorry for Perez, because I think if he had not had that reliability problem, it wasn't halfway through the Grand Prix. It was like, how soon into the Grand Prix was it? It was like 15, 20 laps in, wasn't it? Where he was quick, right up behind Carlos Sainz, and then dropped off the pace massively. He lost about 4 seconds on one lap, and then was seemingly nowhere near the pace after that. And then the safety car did help with him putting the medium tyres on, and it gave him a chance then to come back at Carlos Sainz and gave him a chance to get third. Tried his best, but simply didn't work out. But I'll just quickly get onto this comment by Christian Horner, of course, the Red Bull team boss, and he talked to Sky Sports about what the problem was. He said, "We had a problem with the sensor on Checo's engine. The guys did well to move it, but he lost 30 horsepower because of it. He lost half a second per lap. He could have finished second." So, if that didn't happen, I think he's bang on. I think Sergio could have finished in second. If that didn't happen, and he continued to be right on the back of Carlos Sainz, he probably gets ahead of Carlos and then, hunts after Leclerc. So yeah, a shame, because I think Red Bull could have actually took the lead of the Constructors' Championship today if Perez had actually got second or even third. Or maybe if they got third, they wouldn't have got the lead quite, but they would have been close to getting it. So it's a shame, but at least he's still finishing fourth place and keeps himself... Well, he's not really in the championship fight, but, keeps himself in a good position. He's still third in the championship is Sergio Perez, which has to be, I think, realistically his aim for the season. But, yeah, Red Bull, other than that, were absolutely fantastic. Max Verstappen, brilliant drive. The Red Bull, very, very good. And actually, this weekend was a bit more troublesome than it should have been, and look what they did. They still won. It shows you that this team is really on a roll, and they do have a really strong car. Just need to, again, sort out these reliability problems that keep cropping up here and there, like what happened for Perez, and I think they'll be fine, honestly, and I think they are absolutely, despite not being in the lead of the championships right now, I think they are without a doubt the favourite to win both the constructors and the drivers. I think Verstappen definitely is the favourite, and I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if Max was to close the gap down to Leclerc and take the lead in the next few races. Wouldn't be surprised at all, and we'll see, of course, what happens in Spain in regards to that. But yeah, great day for Red Bull. Second win in a row, third win of the season, most wins this season. Hopefully, from their point of view, they keep it up. Now let's go on to the Mercedes team, and I have to say, good job for them. Also, bit lucky with the safety car coming out at the right time for this man, George Russell. But he still had work to do to get past Hamilton and Bottas. Of course, on the fresher, softer tyres of the medium compound compared to Hamilton on the hard compound, it was always going to be possible. And credit to him for getting that overtake done on Lewis. And then obviously Bottas made a mistake at turn 17 and clipped the wall, and that helped him get into P5. Great drive for Russell. Yes, he was lucky in a certain sense, even though he would have come out in 7th place anyway, even if he had pitted without a safety car. He wouldn't have finished in 5th at all, because he would have come out and been way too far behind Bottas and Hamilton to catch them back up. But yeah, Russell, great drive nonetheless. Hamilton, I think, still drove well. He said on the radio that just, the strategy is not going his way. That's not because Mercedes are, well, they could have put him on soft compound tyres, to be honest, and tried, to do something with him, which honestly, I don't know if they did have the gap to do that, but I'm going to guess they did, because the way Nib was talking to me about it, it sounded like they did, and I trust his call on that. So yeah, if they had the gap, then Hamilton should have absolutely pitted. There was nothing to lose, and he would have finished probably in 5th if they had gone for the soft compound tyre, which is the tyre they had ready for him, but then they decided not to pit. So yeah, that's a bit of a strange decision, to be honest. But at the end of the day, for the team, they got the best result possible. 18 points, and that outputs them clear of the teams below them. So, well, given the day McLaren had, I don't think McLaren will be, will be all over the back of Mercedes anytime soon, given what we've seen this weekend. Of course, at Imola, I was thinking, oh, maybe McLaren are in the fight with Mercedes, but after this weekend, I think we can say that, Mercedes should be fine for third in the Constructors. But, I mean, they've closed the gap to the front two teams. There is no doubt about that. It was a second per lap. It's now probably, at best, 0.8 of a second per lap. But it's still not enough. They need to keep working, keep progressing. They've got a load of upgrades coming for the Spanish Grand Prix. Hopefully they work, and we'll see what happens. But they just need to keep at it, and they'll, they might not get to the point of having the best car, but they will definitely close the gap if they just keep working and those upgrades do work for them. Next up is McLaren. And for McLaren, well, what a terrible day. Ricciardo started in P12. Ricciardo, by the way, had a very eventful day. Was up, down, and all over the place through the order. Had a good start, then he dropped back, then he made progress, then he dropped back, then he stayed out a while on the medium tyre, then dropped back after a pit stop, then had to fight his way through the field, and then obviously the safety car helped his predicament, and he was able then to get up into like 13th, 14th, and then with the chaos that happened towards the end with Magnussen and Stroll, and obviously Schumacher and Vettel, and Gasly, obviously his teammate, was able eventually to find his way up to 11th place on a soft compound tyre. So, I mean, Ricciardo, I think, did the best he could. I don't think he actually did poorly. I don't think he could have done anything more, really, than what he did. So, I think he did, again, the best he could with what he was given. And yeah, for Lando Norris, very poor afternoon. His pace was pretty good in the first stint. Then he pitted, came out behind a load of traffic, had a very weird moment at turn 17 that we saw for others as well, where he just had no grip whatsoever and cars just flooded past him, and then was back in like 14th and 15th and was not heading for a points finish after that because of that issue. But then made contact with Gasly, who of course was hit by Alonso earlier in the race by a few laps before that incident. And simply Norris and Gasly just happened to drive into each other, make contact. I don't know how you describe it, but I don't think you can blame any particular person. They just made contact. It was clumsy, really, for those two. And obviously the cars are pretty wide, so you have to watch out when a car's slowing down and you're trying to overtake it, especially at a street circuit. But yeah, 0 points for McLaren. And Alpine and Alfa Romeo behind them have now closed the gap. By the way, what was it? When talking about drivers of the day, Verstappen, obviously, for me, is the driver of the day, but we have to mention Albon and also Esteban Ocon. I know Ocon got lucky with the safety car, but his pace was also pretty strong in the race. And he may have still got a decent result. It wouldn't have been a points finish, but he may have still got a decent result anyway out of the afternoon. But yeah, some good drives there from those two. But yeah, McLaren haven't scored any points, obviously, from this Grand Prix. Alfa Romeo have scored 6. Alpine have scored 6. So McLaren, I think they're still 4th, but they're now got 2 teams right on their tail for 4th place. Good to see you've got 4th, 5th, and 6th very close in the championship. And we'll see how that continues as the season goes on. But yeah, this has been a shocker for McLaren, an absolute shocker. Considering what we saw last time out at Imola and obviously Melbourne, this has been a very bad day at the office. And I mean, what happened for Norris and Ricciardo, I mean, I get that, there were certain issues in the race and they didn't have the cleanest race. I get that, but I think the lack of straight line speed that McLaren had was definitely of the team's fault, I would say. I think the reason they were so slow in the speed traps is because they simply put too much wing on the car. Because other Mercedes-powered cars were a lot higher in the speed trap. And like Lewis Hamilton, for example, I know he's the works car, but, you know, was 4 kilometers an hour faster. So I think McLaren just put too much wing on the car, and that's why McLaren pace-wise also this weekend were pretty poor, I think, compared to you know, what we have seen previously of the McLaren team. But I'm going to quickly come to you guys in chat. I'll go back to a couple pictures here. Yeah, I'm going to quickly come to you guys in chat, and then we'll go to the rest of the teams. Probably not going to be the longest stream, this, to be honest, because it's late at night, and yeah, I'm pretty tired, so I'm going to probably just whiz through the rest of the teams. But I will quickly say, make sure to stick around to the end of the stream, because I have a very important announcement regarding the next Grand Prix, which is, I mean, I think you'll probably be disappointed to a certain extent, but it is something that I'm very much looking forward to, that I'm going to be doing for the next Grand Prix. So, and I think you guys will probably be happy for me as well, so we'll get into that later on. But I just want to say, if you are new to the channel, then don't forget to subscribe. Bottom right of the screen, you can do it right there. For more content like this, and for more content regarding Grand Prix, of course, the next one in Spain, and then the one after that in Monaco, still to come in the month of May. So don't forget to subscribe for that content regarding those Grand Prix coming up later this month. Bottom right of the screen, again, you can do it right there. And as well, smash the like button and share this video and channel everywhere you can. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at ChazHD5. But yeah, there's not many comments in chat, and I'm not surprised there's not many watching, because I think it's pretty late at night for most of us. And I think most of my audience is in Europe, so yeah, I'm not surprised, to be honest. So I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to go too long with this particular stream. Yeah, let me just quickly get into these comments. Desire Boateng says, I'm just going to say this before anyone else comes and tells me how wrong I am, but I hate Mercedes' strategist with a burning passion. This is inaugural way to levels of incompetence. I don't think it's incompetent. I think it's just, you know, the wrong decision. Incompetence is like failing at the basics. I don't think it was a basic error. Horde says US here. Good to see you. Dan says Red Bull straight line speed made the difference. It absolutely did. And Bruno Zone 5 says Max dominated today. Jorge says great analysis of the race. Thanks. Greetings from Mexico. Pretty sure that is. And Sam Tingy says, if Perez didn't have issues today and was closing on Max, would Red Bull have let them race? No, absolutely not. They would not have let them race. I made a Miami Vice style intro for this race. Haha. That's good for you. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all of the comments. But if you want to post some comments in chat for me to read out, once I've moved on from the midfield teams, then make sure to post them in the chat, and I'll get to them later on. So let me, yeah, just get into the rest of these teams. So, there you go. Let's get into Alpine. What a dramatic race I had. Let's start with Fernando Alonso. So, what a start he had, getting up to 7th place. Contact with Hamilton. Lucky, both of them, that there wasn't a proper accident from that. And they hit each other just at the right point, so there wasn't an accident. So, good that happened. Then he lost position, of course. The Mercedes is quicker than the Alpine. That is clear to see. And then Alonso lost position then to Pierre Gasly. And then was in a race-long fight with Gasly until the dreaded moment where he punted Gasly off the track and then broke something on his rear end. A shame for Gasly, because Gasly was heading for a good points finish to reward what has been a good weekend for him. But yeah, Alonso Got a 5-second penalty for that, which is fully deserved. And then obviously with the safety car coming out, that definitely didn't help matters. But thankfully for him, he only lost 1 position. So that's still a decent race for him. And on track, he finished in 8th place. Esteban Ocon, got lucky with the safety car, but still his pace was very good. So credit to him for being, as quick as he was. And then Ocon, of course, benefited from, the Vettel-Schumacher crash, because, of course, Vettel and Schumacher passed him at turn 10. Not turn 10, turn 17, going down then to the pit straight. So Ocon got a bit lucky with that as well, that, Schumacher and Vettel made contact perfectly for him to just swoop in and get 9th and then get 8th because of Alonso's penalty. So, yeah, a lock-on, bloody hell, what a name that is. Ocon had a lucky day, but his pace was pretty good, so he could take that, I think, as a positive. I mean, obviously the points as well, but I think, the pace of himself this weekend, I think he can take as a positive. And for Alpine, good weekend, 6 points. That's the most points they've scored since Melbourne, of course, where Ocon finished in 7th that weekend. And they match Alfa Romeo for points when, for a lot of this race, it did not look as though they were going to do that, because Bottas was in 5th for a while. I feel sorry for Bottas, honestly. We'll get onto him in a moment. Good race considering that, and they've closed the gap to McLaren ahead. So they're in a good fight, and you never know if they can make some progress with the car and develop it well. They could finish 4th in the championship this year. It's definitely possible. They just need to keep working on this car. But good weekend. But could it have been better? Probably not. I think, to be honest, what they got out of this weekend is the maximum. The only thing that could have been better, really, is qualifying. Now let's get on to Alfa Romeo. I feel sorry for Bottas. I mean, the mistake he made at turn 17 that let the 2 Mercedes through, it was his mistake, but that part of the track needs to be resurfaced. It is so poor, the grip of that corner. It's just not good enough for Formula 1 cars. They've got to resurface it. It's simply not good enough. But still, it's the same conditions for everyone, and Bottas made the mistake, and he clipped the wall. Thankfully, though, he was able to still finish in P7, which is still good points for Alfa Romeo, and keeps them where they are in the championship in 5th, and closes the gap to McLaren, who are 4th. And it closes the gap to, how many points? 3 points, I think it is, between McLaren and Alfa Romeo for 4th. And then Alpine will only be 2-3 points behind as well. So only 6 points separating those 3 teams. Like I said earlier, a very good close fight that is for the upper midfield positions. But I thought Bottas, except for that, he was exceptional in this Grand Prix. And also in qualifying as well, to be 5th. And not only was he 5th, he was quicker than Hamilton in the race until really that mistake at turn 17, and was going to finish in 5th once Russell pitted if there wasn't a safety car. So I do feel sorry for him, but again, it was his mistake. He was probably going to finish in 5th place had it not been, I think, for that mistake. Because even with Russell being on fresher tyres, I still think Bottas would have got 5th position. But at least he still scored some points and he didn't end up retiring, which could have been a possibility with him hitting the wall. Zhou Guanyu, though, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what the problem was. Let me look. But it's a shame what happened to him, because he had a decent start. He got up to 13th, and obviously he started 15th. And obviously the Alfa Romeo was really quick today. And then, had a problem. Let me see what the problem was. Just looking at their Twitter. Unfortunately, the team has had to retire Zhou due to a technical issue. Some sort of technical issue. I don't think they know, by the sounds of it, what it was. But, disappointing for him, because I feel as though he could have probably got a good result out of this race, considering, like I said, he got up to 13th. Then I think he passed Ricciardo, for 12th. and then he had the problem. So he was on his way, but then bad luck struck. It's a shame for him because the last 2 races, I feel as though he could have been in the points, but he's just not had the luck in the last 2 races. Thankfully, though, the next Grand Prix we're going to is a track he knows very well, the Circuit de Catalunya. So he should be certainly quicker around that circuit. But for Alfa Romeo, they're still in a really good position. We have to remember this. 5th in the championship. Who would have thought they would be in that position? And they're closing their gap to the team ahead of them. That's precisely, I think, what they would have wanted. Annoyingly, though, if Bottas had finished 5th, they would be right now 4th in the championship by a single point. So, I mean, yeah, could have been better, but they're still in a very, very good position. Now, we'll move on to Haas F1. What an eventful race Haas F1 had. I mean, Haas have always been an eventful team with eventful drivers. They were both making their way through the field. Schumacher and Magnussen were consistently, together during the entire race, really. And then, yeah, towards the end, after the safety car came in, because of, Gasly dropping out, and then, Alonso's penalty, the chance presented itself for them to get a points finish. And, yeah, we start with Schumacher. Vettel and Schumacher, they got past Ocon at turn 17. Then Schumacher got a run on Vettel down to turn 1 and went for the move, but simply didn't get enough of his car alongside to really realistically expect Vettel to, move out of the way. I mean, yeah, you could argue that Vettel should have given him room, but I think, not Michael, but Mick was just not far enough alongside. It was Vettel's corner, and Mick should have pulled out of it. And I'm surprised that the stewards have gone with no further action because, for me, it's a clear, unnecessary collision, and he destroyed Sebastian's race because Sebastian was probably heading for 8th or 9th place, but then punted him off the track. Such a shame that happened for both of them, but it was obviously Mick's fault. And then obviously for K-Mag, he was also looking pretty competitive. Then he collided with Lance Stroll stupidly towards the end in a typical Kevin Magnussen move of just punting another driver off the track. Thankfully for Stroll, he kept going, but Magnussen, I think, basically retired his car towards the end. So, disappointing for Haas. They ended up finishing where they started, but they could have ended up finishing, say, 10th and 11th, or 9th and 11th, or maybe even 9th and 10th. It could have been one of those days, and it would have been a great, great race for them if they did that. But, yeah, just such a shame. But hopefully, with some more upgrades, Haas can make some more progress with this car. At the next Grand Prix. Next up is Alpha Tauri. Yeah, Alpha Tauri had a very poor day, didn't they? Yuki Tsunoda, I don't know what happened to him. He didn't have that great of a start, but he was looking still okay in the first stint, and then he had his pit stop, and then for some reason he was really slow. I don't know if he had a problem and he was having to back off, but he was seemingly racing like only Nicholas Latifi for some reason, when obviously he shouldn't be near Latifi because Latifi is nowhere near his level. So I don't know what happened there. Let me just look at the AlphaTauri Twitter to see if there was some sort of problem for Tsunoda. Obviously, we'll get to Gasly in a moment. Let me just have a look. No, nothing. Just maybe he was just really slow or made a mistake. I'm not sure, but yeah, very weird pace. Very weird pace, I have to say, from Tsunoda, and finishes in 13th. Yeah, for Gasly, I've already pretty much described his race. He got punted by Alonso. He was heading for an 8th or a 9th in this race. Yeah, punted by Alonso. Alonso definitely at fault. There was not really an overtake on. He was just trying to desperately find his way past, as Fernando normally does. Always hunting for a new position. And then, yeah, damaged Gasly's car. Then the contact with Norris made things even worse, obviously. And then had to retire from the race. Such a shame for AlphaTauri because they were probably heading for a few points and would have continued to close the gap on the teams ahead of them. But it wasn't to be, as their season is starting to fall apart. And, I mean, they're still 7th in the championship, which is not terrible. But, you know, considering what we've seen last season from them, it's definitely not quite good enough. Next up is the Aston Martin team. And for Aston Martin, good race. Their pace was very good. It's such a shame they had to start from the pit lane because as Nib was telling everyone in the race watch along, they had really cold fuel and they couldn't start from the grid. They had to start in the pit lane. So yeah, that's such a shame because if they started in their grid positions, I think Stroll probably would have finished like 8th or 9th in this race and still ended up P12 despite everything that happened. You know, him racing loads of different cars, side-by-side action, getting punted off by Kevin Magnussen and still finished 12th and only like a few seconds away from a point. So pretty good, you know, afternoon's driving despite all of that, what happened. And yeah, like I've said for Sebastian Vettel, such a shame. What a drive by him. I think Sebastian's driving, honestly, at the best level we've seen since like 2018 from him, like early 2018. He's doing really well in that car, but just isn't getting the luck. I mean, Imola, what a drive that was. And then, yeah, here, if he wasn't punted off by Mick, he probably would have finished in 8th place. It would have been another superb result and would have actually started to put them in contention with Haas F1 in the points ahead if he got that finish, but it wasn't to be. But yeah, I think despite that, Aston Martin should take this as a positive weekend because this weekend, normal dry conditions, they showed they were on the pace and were good enough to finish in the points. That's what they needed to get back to, and they are back to it. And with another big upgrade, if it works, this team could become a bit more prominent up the order in Formula 1. And finally, the Williams team. What a drive by Alex Albon. He has really developed a knack for this season. Just, you know, doing his own race, having great pace, you know, doing great tyre stints like he did on the hard compound tyre. He was one of the only people around where he was racing to not pit under the safety car. And it benefited him massively because he avoided all the chaos and ended up finishing in P10. Another brilliant drive from Albon. Sadly, it does not keep them, or it does not, you know, raise them up the championship. They are still in last place, but it does get them a point closer to Aston Martin, who are 3 points ahead of them in the Constructors' Championship. But great drive from Albon. And yeah, I can't really... I've run out of compliments, I guess you could say, for Albon for this Grand Prix. He has been one of the, like, top 5... Has he been one of the top 5 drivers this season? I think you'd have to put him in there. This Williams car, trust me, is not good. It really isn't good. He qualified 18th, Albon. 18th, and finished 10th. And I know, again, there were circumstances that helped that. A bit of luck, but in a car like that, you do need a bit of luck. But again, what a performance by this man. And please, Williams, improve this car, because if he can do that with a car that's definitely the worst, imagine what he can do with a car that is, you know, half a second quicker. Hopefully, we'll get to see that later in the season. But yeah, Alex Albon has to go down as one of the best drivers for this season so far, and also for the Grand Prix. Definitely one of the drivers of the day. To be honest, if Verstappen's not the driver of the day, I think you'd probably have to go for Alex Albon. But that's all the teams. And I'll come to you guys in a moment, I think, in the chat to read some final comments. Just want to quickly read out the championship standings before we get to that. And again, make sure to stick around to the end of the stream, guys, because I've got something very important to announce. Don't go anywhere. So, I'll read out the top 10 positions in the Drivers' Championship for you guys. It is Charles Leclerc still leading by 19 points from Max Verstappen in second. Sergio Perez is third on 66 points. Russell fourth on 59. Sainz fifth on 53. Hamilton sixth on 36. And then Norris seventh on 35. Bottas eighth on 30. Ocon ninth on 24. And Magnussen 10th on 15 points. So that's your Drivers' Championship top 10. And also, Alex Albon is up to 16th in the championship, only just behind Vettel and Alonso. In the Constructors, Ferrari are leading by 6 points over Red Bull. Ferrari on 157, Red Bull 151. Mercedes now clearly in third on 95 points. McLaren fourth on 46. Right, so, okay, Alfa Romeo and Alpine actually further away than I thought. McLaren on 46, and then Alfa Romeo fifth on 31. Right. It's not as close as I thought it was, but they have closed the gap a bit. Alpine 6th on 28 points, and then AlphaTauri 7th on 16. Haas 8th on 15. Aston Martin 9th on 5 points, and then on 2 points is now the Williams team. So no changes in the Constructors' Championship. The only change in the Drivers' Championship top 10 is Hamilton going ahead of Norris. There you go. Let me just quickly read out some final comments. Let me find some comments here I can read out. Did Max drink Devor being weighted? I don't know what you're talking about. Victor Tran says Albon has been amazing with the tyre management and very smart drive indeed. Someone saying brilliant Max. Charles insanely fast. Those two are in a league of their own. They absolutely were. Jan Sargent says surprised about a Max win. Judy Gorey says Max always passes Charles. Great duel between Bottas and Hamilton. Not really. I thought the battle between like the Aston Martins and the Haases, I thought was a decent battle all race long. But like I said, it wasn't a great Grand Prix. Just wasn't that great. And to be honest as well, it's not been that great of a season, I have to say. It's not been terrible or bad, but it's not been what we thought it would. I'm hoping it picks up in the mid-season, and hopefully with upgrades from certain teams, you'll start to get some surprises in there, which could cause, some excitement to increase in Formula 1. And I'll quickly read out the super chat. Thank you very much, by the way, FE-FE for the €4.99 super chat, who says, with his 23rd win, Verstappen passed Damon Hill and Kimi and is now equal with Rosberg and Nelson Piquet. At 24 years old, what do you think his ceiling will be? I think without a doubt, Max's ceiling is basically what Lewis Hamilton has done. I think Max, his aim, with the talent he has and the team that he has behind him, and he's always going to be Max in one of the best teams on the grid. I don't see an Alonso type situation happening where he makes loads of wrong moves. I just don't see that happening. I think he'll always be in one of the best teams, kind of like like Michael Schumacher, Ayrton Senna. He'll always be up there because I don't think, one, Red Bull, as long as they make a good enough car, they will have him in their car. Because there's no reason for Max to leave Red Bull unless their car is too slow. But any other team that, gets to a point of having a championship-winning car, if they can go and get Max Verstappen, they will. So Max will always be in a title-contending car, probably for his entire career, or at least most of his career from now on. And yeah, I think his ceiling is to be the greatest of all time. I think it's very possible. Will he do it? That's a completely different topic for another day. As to, will Max Verstappen ever get to that level of being the greatest of all time? But if you look at his talent, he has it. He has all you need to be the best driver of all time. And that is what his ceiling is. But like I said, we'll see whether he ever gets to that level. Thank you, by the way, for the super chat and the question. Much appreciated. But yeah, I think I'll move on now to my announcement. So, like I said, this might disappoint some people, but this is something I'm very excited about, and I think some of you will probably be happy for me anyway. And it's not too bad of a thing, but I'll just get into it. So, it's kind of to do with the schedule on my channel coming up in the next 2 weeks or so. So, I was thinking about doing a stream on Monday, which is, of course, tomorrow, to get more in-depth about, what happened today in the race, but I'm not going to do that now. The reason being is because I just don't think enough has happened in this race to really do more content on it. So there isn't going to be a stream tomorrow. And the next stream on the channel will not be for almost 2 weeks. It'll be Thursday the 19th of May, my next stream, or any piece of content on this channel. And that will be a Spanish Grand Prix preview stream on the Thursday, again, the 19th of May, probably 8 PM UK time, like it normally is on those type of days. But then, I will not be covering the Spanish Grand Prix in terms of watch-alongs and previews, like race previews, qualifying previews. That, unfortunately, will not be happening. And the reason is because I have a surgery that I'm having on my eyes, I'm having done the morning of the Grand Prix, so I just simply can't do it. I was hoping that the surgery would be in between these 2 races, but that's when it's scheduled for, and I can't back out, and I don't want to back out because I want to get it done, because I'm excited to do it, and, it's a massive thing for me. I've had glasses all my life, and it will massively improve my life, obviously, being able to see. But basically what the surgery is, it's called, I think, refractive lens surgery. What they're doing is putting lenses in my eyes to make me see and not need glasses. It's gonna have the same effect of laser eye surgery, but it's a different type of surgery. It's almost like putting, with like contact lenses. It's like if you put a contact lens in your eye, but it's then in your eye permanently and you can see permanently. That's basically what the surgery is. And yeah, it's on the morning of the Grand Prix, the Spanish Grand Prix. I'm very excited for it, as I've said, and I can't wait to do it. And like I said, it's a life-changing thing, and it will massively improve my life, especially my confidence and self-esteem. It's something I've dreamed about since I was a kid, honestly. Not having to wear glasses. It's that big of a thing for me. So I have to do it, and I'm going to do it. So that means, like I said, I'm going to have to miss the Spanish Grand Prix weekend, but this is what I'm going to do. So like I said, Thursday the 19th of May will be a Spanish Grand Prix preview video, and then there won't be any content on the Friday, Saturday or Sunday for that Grand Prix, or the Monday, but the Tuesday after the Grand Prix, 2 days after the Grand Prix in Spain, I will then do a stream covering what happened in the Spanish Grand Prix. And then, once I've done that, then I'll be able to cover the Monaco Grand Prix in full for the preview the day before Friday practice, and then of course Friday practice, and then qualifying day, race day, and then probably a stream on the Monday as well to review what happened in the Grand Prix and really what happened in the month of May, really, for all the teams. So don't worry, it's only one Grand Prix that I'm going to be missing. Like I said, the Monaco Grand Prix the week after, I'm going to be covering in its entirety for you guys. So don't worry, there's plenty coming on the channel. And this Grand Prix that I'm going to be missing, the next Grand Prix in Spain, this will be the last one I'm going to miss probably, hopefully for the rest of the season. So hopefully after that Grand Prix I miss, I'll be able to cover every single Grand Prix until the very end of the season. And then, yes, certainly once we get into June and July, where there's lots of races, there's going to be plenty of content on the channel. So don't worry about it. There will be a bit of a miss that weekend. I understand that, but this is a bigger thing for me, and I've got to get it done. And I will probably post a reminder on my community tab just to remind people that I won't be streaming for that Spanish Grand Prix weekend. So, yeah, that's the announcement. And yeah, it's a shame that the surgery is going to happen on that day. I was hoping it would happen, like I said, in between races or on a weekend or a midweek where there isn't a race, obviously. But, I want to get it done because I've been meaning to get it done or do it for like 3 or 4 months now. So I want to get it done and then get it, over and done with. So then I don't have to worry about getting it over and done with anymore. So yeah, that's what is going to happen with that. So yeah, no content on this channel until Thursday, May 19th, where at 8 PM UK time on that particular day, I will do a Spanish Grand Prix preview. And then, like I said, miss the Spanish Grand Prix weekend, and then the Tuesday after, cover what happened in the Spanish Grand Prix. I probably won't be able to watch the race live because I don't think I'm allowed to look at a screen that soon after the surgery. So I think I'm allowed like 6 hours after my surgery to look at a screen for this particular surgery. I know for laser eye surgery it's different, it's like a week, but for this one it's only 6 hours. But yeah, I'll probably watch the race like the day after, and then, like I said, on that Tuesday after, 2 days after the Grand Prix, I will do my own review. So that's what's coming up on the channel, guys. But like I said, once that Grand Prix, once I've missed it, don't worry, the week after, I'll be right back at it, covering the Monaco Grand Prix in its entirety. And obviously, me and Nib will be back for the Monaco Grand Prix as well. Rooksfoot saying in the chat, don't know if you're going private or not, but there's still an outside chance they might reschedule it. Happens a lot. I don't think that's going to happen. I've been having conversations with them, and it looks like it's going to happen on that day. 99% sure. So, yeah. As well, it's pretty close, isn't it? It's like 2 weeks away. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. And to be honest, I want it to happen on that day because I just want to get it done now instead of waiting. But yeah, that's the announcement. And like I said, I'll be back on that Thursday, May 19th with my next piece of content. I also want to say to anyone who has newly subscribed this weekend, thank you very, very much for subscribing to the channel. Of course, I've had like 100 or 150 new subscribers, I think, for this weekend. So yeah, thank you very much if you've newly joined the channel. And don't worry, like I said, there is plenty of stuff coming up on the channel. End of this month, obviously, with Monaco. And then once we get into the month of June and July, there's going to be so much content on the channel that you won't be able to probably keep up with it. So, yeah, there's going to be plenty coming your way after my surgery is done on May the 22nd, my surgery. And that's obviously the day of the Spanish Grand Prix. And yeah, if you are a new subscriber, thank you very, very much. If you are a new viewer, if you want to subscribe, then again, make sure to do so. Bottom right of the screen right there. As well, smash the like button and share this video and channel everywhere you can to help the channel grow. And don't forget as well to follow me on Twitter at ChazHD5 and join my Discord server, link below in the description to join my community. Also, thank you guys for the... for so many of you watching the streams this weekend, especially compared to the last race at Imola, there's some pretty good viewership on certain things as well. So, yeah, thank you guys very, very much for that as well. And yeah, I'm pleased to really be back doing this, obviously, what I love. And until the next time I do what I love, which of course is streaming and talking to you guys, which, like I said, will be the Thursday before the Spanish Grand Prix, Thursday, May the 19th. Until then, guys, and until my next, race weekend stream, which will probably be in Monaco, or will be in Monaco. Until then, guys, thank you for the weekend, and it has been me, ChazHD. Goodbye.